Managers. Okay. I can't hear.
15 seconds. 9 seconds. 8. 6.
Hello and welcome to S24 Rundown. I'm Zainab Ibrahim and here's our news in brief. Now the news in details. To start with, passengers aboard the MV Honduras have adopted strict health protocols similar to those seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, following a rare hantavirus outbreak linked to multiple deaths. Health authorities from several countries are investigating the situation as passengers on board the cruise ship have been instructed to wear masks, maintain social distancing, and observe strict hygiene measures while the vessel remains under close surveillance. Spain has agreed to allow the ship dock in Tenerife despite concerns raised by Canary Island officials, while the World Health Organization said the overall public health risk remains low. The outbreak, believed to involve the Andes strain of hantavirus, has resulted in at least 3 deaths and several suspected infections. Medical evacuations have already taken place, with some patients transferred to hospitals in the Netherlands, Johannesburg, and Zurich for treatment. Moving on to politics, the All Progressive Congress has waived the screening requirements for President Bola Tinubu ahead of party's 2027 presidential primaries, officially declaring him clear to participate in the exercise. The decision was reached during the APC National Working Committee's 188th meeting in Abuja, where the party stating that the waiver was granted on the provisions of its constitution that allow special exemptions in the party's best interests. APC spokesman Felix Moka said Tinubu's previous screening before the 2022 primaries and his position as incumbent president made another appearance before a screening panel unnecessary. Now, a federal high court in Kaduna has granted former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai access to medical treatment while in custody amidst his ongoing trial over alleged corruption and money laundering offences. The ruling followed an appeal by his legal team, who urged the court to allow him receive proper medical attention during detention. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission confirmed the court's approval during the proceedings. Nigeria's newly confirmed Minister of Power, Olasukomi Tegbe, has pledged to end the persistent national grid collapses and improve electricity supply across the country through urgent reforms in the power sector. Speaking during his Senate screening in Abuja, Tegbe admitted that the recurring failures in the electricity system were caused by deeper structural problems, including weak infrastructure, poor coordination, inadequate gas supplies, sabotage by vested interests benefiting from the sector's inefficiencies. He promised a 100-day reform plan aimed at stabilizing the grid, improving accountability and restoring public confidence in the sector. Lawmakers tasked the new minister with delivering visible results within months, stressing that Nigerians had become frustrated with years of failed promises and unreliable power supply. The British High Commission has reaffirmed its support for media freedom and ethical journalism in Nigeria during a training program organized by Nigerian journalists in Lagos. Speaking at the event, British Deputy High Commissioner Johnny Baxter said the United Kingdom remained committed to supporting independent journalism and promoting accurate, evidence-based reporting, especially in an era where misinformation spreads rapidly. He noted that a free press plays a critical role in shaping public discourse and ensuring credible information reaches the public. Now, on internationals, a United States lawmaker, Riley Moore, has called on President Donald Trump to take stronger action over the recent killings in Plateau State, describing the attack as targeted violence against Christians. Moore condemned the latest assault in Plateau, where several residents were reportedly killed by gunmen, and accused the Nigerian government of failing to adequately protect vulnerable communities, despite repeated warnings about impending attacks. He said the continued violence and further strained diplomatic relations between Nigeria and the United States. Finally, the Iranian embassy in Seoul has denied claims that Iran's armed forces were responsible for the explosion and fire that damaged a South Korean cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. In a statement, the embassy described the allegation as false and insisted there was no involvement by Iranian military forces in the incident involving the vessel operated by South Koreans. HMM Shipping Company came after comment by former U.S. Donald Trump, suggested that Iranian forces may have targeted the ship during rising tensions in the region. Now let's move on to our next segment, which is business news with Shukra Oniye. Break, and thank you so much, Shukran, for the business news. Now, moving on to our next segment, the newspaper review, and I'll be doing this with Abubakar Turaki. Hello, Abubakar.
Hello, Zainab.
Good to see you again today.
Thank you so much, Zainab.
It seems the country is in the best position, the best, situation.
Election period always come with excitement and joy.
Okay, let's find out from our headlines. We're starting with the Daily Trust, and on the front page, it says opposition kicks against deployed troops for 2027 election. You know what I always say about opposition parties? You can't always say opposition parties are of the best interest of the citizens. But when opposition parties are actually making a point, we can't look away from it. So opposition are actually questioning why there should be a lot of deployment of our security agencies just ahead of the 2027 election. I think that is quite unnecessary considering the level of insecurity we are experiencing right now. What is your opinion?
If President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will relinquish tonight, the next day in the morning, opposition will start saying that why did he relinquish at night? Let him just relinquish as early as possible in the morning. One of the beauty of democracy is the presence of opposition. Yes. And sometimes if the opposition are saying something, if we are to be honest with ourselves, sometimes what they are saying from the bottom of their heart in order to make the mistake that are being done.
I wouldn't agree with you that they are saying it from the bottom of their hearts, but they are there to look for the negativity for them to context ahead of the election. But when they're making a point, we should not be hypocritical. We should spell it out that they are actually making a point. I think that is the situation here with the Daily Trust front page.
Yeah, what they are saying is actually right, because in a country that is battling with the issue of insecurity all over the country, the issue of the insecurity in general, and the country is heading toward 2027 general election, which for the past months, it has been the topic of discussion across all over. So coming out by INEC to tell Nigerians that they are going to deploy huge amount of personnel in that for the conduct of that general elections. So to many people are of the view that INEC really trying to deploy that security people. Maybe it's just a way of manipulating and rigging the election, because election is a civil and democratic. Election is supposed to be carried out in a civil and democratic way. It doesn't have to be presence of security personnel for them to monitor that election.
Why do you need for so many military personnel?
Yeah, based on what they said, Professor Amipoten said that because the country is in a very, very terrible situation. And election in most of the African countries is a do or die affair. The winner get all and the loser lose all. So we pray that if INEC are going to do that thing with positive mind, it's a welcome development, because we have no any country apart from Nigeria. And the stability of the Nigerian country and the stability of Nigerian people is the stability of Africa, as I tell you every day, because Nigeria is the giant of Africa. So let us just be optimistic and hope what INEC are trying to do is going to be of the benefit to Nigerians. Rather, we are not praying that what INEC are going to do is going to favor the ruling party, because they have been calls all over.
This boils down to when we talk about the priorities of our politicians. Their priorities are actually the 2027 election. People are clamoring about security, lack of military personnel and security agencies across the 36 states. Because if you ask me, the entire state is not safe. It might be more than, the level might be more than this state. But the politicians, our leaders, are all about their election. They needed the security. They know how to bring the security. If they actually know how to bring the security agencies together just for their election, why have they not deployed this system to actually safeguard the security of Nigerians even before this election? Because you are talking about securing the people, right? They are claiming that they are about to secure the citizens, right, during election. Why have this security not come before election? Are you securing the ballot paper, or you are securing the people who are actually coming?
Well, you have given yourself the answer. They are trying to scare their own votes. Because we have seen there's a state in northern eastern Nigeria, some amount of, I think 7 billion naira was budgeted for to fence the government house, while the governor is not sleeping there. So this is to tell that their level of priority matters to them when it comes to election than the people that want to protect them. Because every responsible government, whether it is dual, So from all angle, from all indication, matters more to them than protecting than protecting the people. And this is to tell you that there will be a time when Nigerians will find a democratic way of revolting toward that. Because as long as we continue to have a TV station like S24 that will continue to promote awareness, bring voter education, ANEC are doing their own, National Orientation Agency are doing their own, you are doing your own, she's doing her own. I believe Nigeria will be a better country again.
I would like us to move to the next paper, but before I go, I would like to say that our politicians should actually, do better, because it's what they're trying to do is quite obvious. But the Nigerians are beginning to see that they do not really actually care about them, if you ask me.
Then if you're in Abuja, that is why.
Abubakar, if you're deploying troops, that means you're making these people leave other states just for them to be in a particular, because the ballot paper won't be everywhere. So they are going to be closely watching the ballot paper. So they are leaving. So at this point, they don't care if a community is secure or not.
All right, they care is their election.
They are calling on these troops to make sure that they are at a particular place where their ballot paper is, just for them to protect their ballot paper. So I think our politicians should do better, because Nigerians are wiser and they can see the injustice that is going on with their decisions. Now, moving on to the next paper, The Nation front page says, lawmakers' defection, no threat to our victory, say Netawe. I think this is Netawe saying that they are unshakable, even if the lawmakers are defecting from the party. What would you say about that?
Professor Netawe saying this statement, he's saying in order to protect his own job.
Of course, as always.
Because he's the chairman of the ruling party. And the caliber of a politician, one, if he defects to another political party, he's going to come with his own followers and supporters. Recently, 2 days ago, we have seen how Konkoso and Obi left the ADC.
And so many of their followers left with them.
Within 24 hours, 18 lawmakers defected to NDC, new political parties. And if the ruling party miraculously, whether by virtue of free and fair election, or whether by virtue of election, come 2027, and they lost, because in a situation whereby the president wanted to appoint ministers, the lawmakers have to endorse it before they approve it. So he's just trying to play his, because when you are going into a battle and you know that you don't have commanders, you don't have armies, so you have to find a way of deceiving people, because in politics, especially in Nigeria and Africa, they call it siyasa erizambaji, because politics is all about deception. It's all about deceiving people. You may not be able to have the capacity to cast the bull by the horn, but you will just be pretending in order for you to have the vote that you are doing.
Because I think
it's a political statement.
Yes, Netawe might be saying this statement, but it shows that he's actually threatened by the defection of this.
Of course, in a situation whereby
for you to come out and be saying that, it's not actually a problem, that means it's actually
recently,
a problem.
I saw the member that is representing Kaduna North, Erufai. He defected to ADC. And even yesterday, I saw 18 lawmakers defected to NDC, and more are coming.
So let's quickly talk about this NDC. Does that make them an upcoming strong party? Because at first we were scared that, now that we're having this division between ADC,
APC.
Does that make us a one-party system? Does that make us have a one strong political party? Is there no competition ahead of 2027 election? But the defection of these lawmakers, does that make NDC any different from what it used to be before?
Zainab, I always find it funny whenever I hear people calling Nigeria as a one-party state. No, Nigeria is not a one-party state, but rather Nigeria is heading toward one-party dominance.
Right.
Because a situation whereby a ruling party is dominating minor political party by virtue of threat. Because if you are telling of one-party system, it's by virtue of constitution and political lobbying. But now we have seen many situations whereby many people, if they defect from the ruling party to the opposition party, the next thing is invitation from the anti-graft agency. So this is one-party domination. It is very, very unconstitutional, and it's a threat to our democracy.
Actually.
Because we have been enjoying the dividend of democracy since 1999 to date. And if the ruling party continue to showcase its own tactics, I think the stability of democracy in Nigeria is at risk.
Actually, the ruling party does not agree with this statement that they're actually threatening. They just feel they are playing a wiser game than the rest of the
No, it's a
community.
threat because we have seen several people that went to ADC meeting, went to ADC convention, but at the tail end, they wanted to cross carpet and they just remember something. Then they just came back to the
What did
ruling
they
party.
remember?
Well, there's people are called.
They remember their future. Are you safe? Can you stay outside the ruling party or should you go back under your umbrella?
Zainab, recently we have seen how the former governor of Kaduna State have been going up and down from ICPC custody to the courtroom.
Yes.
These are the kind of
and
we
so
need to
many,
do more in
and
our
so many
democracy.
other, now Abubakar, let's move to our last paper. The New Telegraph front page says we cannot remove Christianity from Nigeria. It is impossible, and this is coming from the Sultan. I think this statement does not have a better time. I think that it's the statement is actually coming at the right time where Nigerians are already feeling like we are religiously apart or culturally apart. I think the statement is necessary and action should be taken after the statement.
Then permit me to borrow from what Karl Marx said. Karl Marx said, and I quote, "Religion is an opium of the masses." And he further stated that religion is a tool in which people are using in order to create division. Coming out by the Sultan of Sokoto to make that statement is a good statement because many people are of the view that some part of religion in this country is dominating the other part. And he made this statement amidst leaders of Christianity, leaders of Islam, and some other religion that are being practiced in Nigeria.
This is how each religious member are feeling like the victim at the moment.
Yeah, and he made this statement at the right moment because Nigerian politicians are always smart.
And they're using
They
this
have been
as a
using
tool.
religion in order to divide. There is what we call divide and rule. They have been using religion in order to divide people and rule them.
Yes,
and we are heading toward 2027. I believe there are some so-called politicians in court that they will continue to preach on the virtue of religion in order to have votes. And once if they enter office, they will forget about religion. If you remember, I believe between Christianity and Islam, between Christian and Muslim, they are more united.
Yes.
Because I know a place in this country whereby a Christian can marry a Muslim.
Of course, it's happening.
It's happened.
Yeah.
So this is to say that at the level, at the very, very peripheral level, we are united. But when it comes to their own political interests, they can do everything in order to divide people.
So they have to see that this keeps going on in order for them to achieve
continue ruling
their goal. We'll be ending here, so we'll move to our next segment, the S24 report, coming to you after the break. Thank you for staying with us.
I'm sorry.
we got? A couple of minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Rachel, could you do me a favour? Could you grab my water? It's literally just inside the MCR on.
Welcome back from that break. This is Political Arena on S24. Internationally. We're taking our conversation internationally. Today, we will be discussing on parliamentary system of government and whether it can bring more transparency, accountability, and foster development to Nigeria and Africa at large. Some people believe that the system works better because there are more accountability in the parliamentary system of government. I am joined here by my colleague, Mr. John Costa. Mr. John Costa, happy birthday once again.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Political Arena on S24 Television.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. So, Mr. John, if you say parliamentary system of government, someone that has international experience, can you tell it down to our own listeners and viewers?
I mean, coming from the UK, it's something that obviously dominates our life. It was interesting hearing you talking to Miss Zainab about your own political system and the president and the upcoming election. There's always similarities between politicians and how they operate and the things that they do. So from our perspective, and it's not something that we teach necessarily within our education system, we pick it up more through social media or for those that engage in the news or gossip or certain shows that dominate in the UK, is the fact that we have a constitutional monarchy. So obviously, you know, the Queen died, Queen Elizabeth II, and now we've got King Charles III. And we've got also a parliamentary democracy, which is divided between two houses. The lower house is the House of Commons, which is the common people get to vote for, 650 MPs split between several parties. The majority appoints the Prime Minister, and then they make the laws and the rules. And then we've got like an upper house, which is an appointed house. So it's got like bishops, hereditary peers, which tends to be landowners. And so there's a lot of groundswell between appointing the people that get appointed, almost like getting rid of them. You know, why do we need the House of Lords? They're there to back checks and balance the lower house. But it comes across sometimes that they stop things that the people want. They come at it from the point of view of why are they opposing it? So it's really interesting. You've got the opposition and the ruling parties in the lower house, and then in the upper house, like I said, with people that are appointed, hereditary peers. When you see Sir so-and-so or Lord or Lady that sit in the house, lots of films of them falling asleep and stuff like that because they go and they get paid and big expenses. And it just falls within that whole political landscape of people doing it. So I think when you look at President Trump or your own president, we see that system as like, oh, that would be terrible to have that system, but we don't particularly support the system that we have ourselves. We don't necessarily view it from the way that maybe you do, which is actually it's a good thing. So it's interesting to have that kind of conversation with you.
Okay, talking about that transparency and accountability, how transparent is parliamentary system of government is in UK?
I think it's quite transparent. I mean, we can hold our MPs to account. You know, there's Prime Minister's questions every week. Any MP should be able to ask a question, even if you're from a single member of a party. You know, the press is quite politically savvy. We have some very good, well-known political journalists that I'm sure some of our MPs live in fear of going on Sunday morning or talking to. And we have a very proactive mainstream television programme called Question Time, where MPs with various other people are called together and can be questioned by the audience. And literally there is nothing off the table, they ask. And so I think it can come across as quite transparent. But then what will happen is there'll be a groundswell of popularity around a particular party. We've got the new Reform Party at the moment, it's really shaking it up and dividing the vote. Between the Tories, particularly the Conservative Party. And then what will happen is that perception of groundswell from the people, when it comes to election night and we have our very famous swingometer, that first past the post wins. And then people are never quite sure, well, how could we vote for all of those people, yet these people form the government and the Prime Minister. So I think it's one of those things, we need to work on that transparency more to explain to people the benefits of our system rather than the political parties or the MPs, and it would become very much like America where it's personality driven.
Coming down to Nigeria, because Nigeria is the giant of Africa, and Nigeria is operating presidential system of government, while in UK they are practicing parliamentary system of government. In which the member of the executive is sometimes a member of the legislative. So do you think that adopting parliamentary system of government in most of the developing countries will reduce the cost of governance?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that when you look at the Nigerian system, you have to look at it from the point of view, not internally about the president and how it operates, but how parliamentary democracies work elsewhere and what would that bring to the system. And it's interesting, isn't it, that when you talk to people about governance, for me, governance is accountability. So for me, as an individual of any country, are the people that are governing me accountable to me when I ask them questions about how can we have all this amount of oil, but we still pay a lot of money for our petrol? How can we produce this amount of food, but we can't eat subsidised, So it's more about, would a parliamentary system provide your Nigerian on the street, your concerned citizen now, with a different outcome to what impacts them on the pocket. Now, we have a very famous thing in our country where we talk about white van man. So white van man is your working man, he's driving around a white van, probably reads a certain newspaper, votes with his pocket. Ultimately, it doesn't matter about personalities and parties, it will come down to, does he feel that party will benefit his pocket and his family? It allows you to do that, whereas a presidential system doesn't always seem to do that. And when you have defections and you have a whiff of nepotism or anything to do with governance, I'm not going to mention the C word, but governance in general, I think it's easy to turn around and say this system would be better, but you need to look at why would that system be better when you come from the way that your country is structured with, its tribal background, post-colonial system, the languages that you speak. You mentioned earlier with Miss Zainab, the role that religion plays when people turn around and say suddenly, they'll use it when they need to, but it's not a big deal for them. So I think it's interesting. The debate is not would it work here? It's more about why isn't the system we've got working? Could we improve that? Is there a third ground? Because straight away we're talking about, we've got this in my country, you've got that. Is there a third way that Africa could create its own structure, its own governance structure for now, rather than post-colonial world?
Nigeria is heading toward 2027 election, and you have seen how politicians are behaving, especially when it comes to scramble and partition of power. What for making Nigeria to be stable and for them to avoid any sort of political pandemonium?
I think it's interesting that when you come at it from the perspective of a normal person, I always, I'm not interested in politicians, I'm not interested in powerful people, I'm interested in people on the street as a media worker or a journalist, and a documentarian, that's what I'm interested in, the person on the street, particularly those that are the furthest away from power. And it's about using some of the headlines that you had on those newspapers there are deliberately provocative and designed to inflame opinion, but not necessarily to do it in a particular way that it gets a particular result. It's just really helpful for me to now wave my hand over here, so you're looking at my hand, so it's like a magician where I'm doing what I want to be doing over here. So you mentioned deception, smoke, mirrors and stuff like that. I think there's also a duty of care that a person on the street, particularly when it comes to security, which obviously is a big dominant factor. My visit last November, I remember seeing a state with my colleagues, and I went quite close to the border, and we went out and we went interviewed people on the street. It was very different from the perception that was being painted by a president of a very powerful Western country, saying that, you know, this was going on all the time. And on the street here, I was just happily talking to people. So it was important that we went to show people what the reality is. Now, the difference now, 6 months later, is obviously it seems to be more, there seems to be more violent, more police officers and army killed, more people and stuff. But is more of it happening, or is it just the fact that we're focusing more on reporting that? And we need to be kind of quite balanced in our view, which is it's easy to turn around and say, you should do more for security. Yeah. What we're not talking about is how can we support the people that are doing the security more? Do people rate? Do people support? Are people loyal to? Do people understand why the Nigerian army operates the way that it does, or the police? And so you've got this very kind of difficult balance, which is the person on the street says, I feel unsafe because of all of these things, but maybe it's the governance that's not strengthening it in order to kind of keep the banditry or the criminality down.
Mr. John, it's a pleasure speaking to you in S24 Television and Political Arena. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that is all what we have on S24 Political Arena. Stay tuned for our on-day commentary. Thank you.
I'm very happy to see that there are now communities of women working in technology, African women coming together. Back then, I knew very few female developers or women in tech who were leading media organizations or developing mobile applications. Today, I'm very pleased to see that after several years, we now have strong communities of women.
On a maintenant des communautés de femmes fortes.
Media professionals and cybersecurity experts like Karine Ola are now using their platforms not just to lead, but to mentor. Ola observes that as Ivorian women assert their digital competence, they are sparking a chain reaction across borders, inspiring peers in countries like Burkina Faso and Senegal to find their own voices.
Women are increasingly finding their voice and asserting themselves in a digital space. This is inspiring other neighboring countries that are watching us. I know, for example, a young woman in Burkina Faso who calls herself the Karen Ulate of Burkina because she's trying to follow my path. I have others like that in different countries. There is also Edith Bro in Senegal. People are trying to draw inspiration. They are no longer ashamed. Today, they are asserting themselves and showcasing their skills. They have realized that, thanks to digital platforms, they can make their voices heard.
The impact of this movement is deeply personal for the next generation. For young women like Kulei Gilani, Reina Armande, entering digital spaces like the DJ Firm's office has been a transformative experience. Moving past her natural shyness, she found herself leading groups and teaching technical concepts, a step that opened her mind to new logical frameworks and boosted her confidence. Similarly, former students like Kulibali Ngoyo Ngwomasita looked back at their 10-year journey with immense pride without a clear roadmap at the start. They have carved out careers that once seemed impossible, proving that the path they are on is one that leads towards a limitless future for women in tech.
Je suis quelqu'un qui est calme, qui est un peu dans son coin. Mais arrivé ici avec
I'm someone who is quite shy, but when I came here with my sisters, in order to help others, I had to stand in front of a group and teach certain concepts, even all of them. This allowed me to open up to others. It's an important step and it helped me understand certain ideas that I didn't understand before.
et ça m'a aidé aussi à comprendre une certaine logique.
C'est déjà une grande fierté.
It's already a source of pride, and I'm truly proud of this journey, of everything I have been able to achieve up till today, because there wasn't a clear career plan at the beginning. And today, I tell myself that I still have many things to accomplish. I'm on a path that can take me very far.
Qui peut m'amener très loin.
Discuss technology, innovation, and digital. I am Aisha Mohammed. Here's what's shaping the ICT from Nigeria to the global stage. Nigeria records all-time high internet data usage. Nigeria's digital consumption continues to soar, with internet usage reaching a record of 4.06 million terabytes in the first quarter of 2026. Analysts say the increase is being driven by expanding 4G and 5G infrastructure investments across the country. National Information Technology Development Agency Technology, Innovation, and Digital World. I am Aisha Mohammed. Here's what's shaping ICT from Nigeria to the global stage. Nigeria records all-time high internet data usage. Nigerians' digital consumption continues to surge, with internet usage reaching a record 4.06 million terabytes in the first quarter of 2026. Analysts say the increase is being driven by expanding 4G and 5G infrastructure investments across the country. National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, issues fresh cyber alert over AI-powered malware.
The agency is warning Nigerians about a new threat known as deep load, an artificial intelligence-powered malware designed to bypass conventional security systems. Experts say the development highlights the growing sophistication of cyber threats in the digital era. Experts call for overhauls of Nigerian SIM recycling system. Industry stakeholders are raising concerns over security vulnerabilities linked to recycled SIM cards, warning that the current system could increase risks of identity theft and digital fraud. Nigeria ranked Africa's most spammed country. New report shows that over half of unknown calls received in Nigeria are now flagged as fraudulent or spam-related, placing renewed attention on telecom security and consumer protection. Federal government bans use of honorary doctor titles in official communications. Authorities say the directive is aimed at curbing academic fraud and misleading representation, particularly across professional and digital platforms. Onto the African scene, MTN Nigeria posts major profit rebound in Q1 2026. The telecom giant reported a 166% year-on-year profit increase, signaling a strong recovery in Africa's largest telecom markets. Pan-Africa credit platform Be-Free secures growth funding. The company says the new investment round will help expand its distressed credit management operations across multiple African markets. Analysts say the move reflects growing investor interest in Africa's digital financial ecosystem. Onto the global scene. Global ICT projects shortlisted for major ITU awards. 10 Malaysians technology initiatives have been nominated for the WSIS Prizes 2026, recognizing innovative digital solutions focused on social impact and development. The awards are backed by the International Telecommunication Union. Global demand rises for counter-drone technology. International demand for advanced radar and digital systems is increasing sharply, particularly for technologies designed to detect and neutralize drones. Sorry for that. Industry experts say growing security concerns are accelerating investment in next-generation defense infrastructure. And that's it on Tech News Updates, where innovation meets impact and the future stays in focus. After the break, Entertainment News Updates up next with Khadija Muhammad. Thank you.
I'm Khadija Muhammad, bringing you the hottest stories making waves across Nigeria, Africa, and the global entertainment scene. So let's get into it today. The Nigerian music star Ira Star is trending online after naming her personal Afrobeat Big Three during a recent interview. Surprisingly, she picked Tiwa Savage, Wizkid, and Rema, leaving out Davido and Burna Boy. The statement has sparked massive conversation among fans on social media. And still on Nigerian entertainment, the Grammy-winning Nigerian superstar Burna Boy is reportedly preparing to make his acting debut. Entertainment reports say the Afrofusion star is exploring opportunities and fame while continuing work on new music projects. Fans are already excited to see the singer expand his creative career beyond music. And speaking of global recognition, music lovers across Nigeria are still reacting after major Afrobeat stars including Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy, and Ira Star missed out on wins at the 2026 Grammy Awards. Despite the losses, fans continue to celebrate global growth and recognition of Nigerian music. And now let's take it across Africa. The 5th edition of the Stereo African Festival is currently underway in Dakar, bringing together artists and creatives across the continent. Organizers say this year's festival focuses on unity, collaboration, and showcasing African growing music industry to the world. And finally, from Africa to the global stage, the Met Gala 2026 continues to trend worldwide as celebrities turn fans with dramatic fashion moments. Stars including Nicole Kidman, Madonna, and Blake Lively made major headlines during the fashion biggest night. This year's theme, Fashion is Art, sparks praise, viral reaction, and conversation online. And that's it for today's entertainment update. For more trending stories from Nigeria and around the world, stay connected and keep following the conversation. I'm Khadija Muhammad. Thanks for watching. And coming up next is Sport News Weight Matter after the break.
In the NBA playoffs. Here's your list today. We begin in Munich, where Paris Saint-Germain survived a tough battle against Bayern Munich to reach the UEFA Champions League final. An early goal from Ousmane Dembele helped PSG seal the 6-5 aggregate victory, despite a late response from Harry Kane. Georgian winger Kvaratskhelia once again impressed with a brilliant assist, with Steven Gerrard calling him the best winger in the world. PSG manager Luis Enrique praised his team's resilience after a tense night at the Allianz Arena. Bayern boss Vincent Kompany was unhappy with officiating decisions across both legs, especially controversial handball calls. Still, Bayern stars including Jamal Musiala and Michael Osile kept the game alive in what turned out to be a thrilling semi-clash final. PSG will now face Arsenal FC in the finals at the Puskas Arena on May 30th. Now, away from football, we go on to shine on the global athletics stage. Nigeria will be Africa's only representative in the mixed 4x100 meters relay at the inaugural World Athletics Ultimate Championships in Budapest after qualifying through an impressive performance at the World Relays in Botswana. The competition will feature top nations including the United States, Jamaica, and Canada, with a prize pool of $10 million. Still on global sports, Gianni Infantino has defended ticket prices for this summer's FIFA World Cup, insisting the tournament remains one of the world's biggest sporting events, despite criticism over expensive resale prices. And finally, in the NBA playoffs, the San Antonio Spurs bounced back strongly against the Minnesota Timberwolves with a dominant 133-95 Game 2 victory. Victor Wembanyama and Darren Fox led the charge as San Antonio leveled the series. And that's your sports update, bringing you the biggest moments from football, athletics, and basketball across the world. Up next is Fiji News after the break.
Hello, Naija people. The main updates where they happen across Naija and abroad now don't bring for now today. Make we first talk about the big wahala wey don burst for inside one ship wey they call MV Honduras. People for inside don't start to dey wear mask. They do social distancing like COVID time. This one happened after one bad virus wey they call hantavirus kill at least 3 people, come make many people fall sick. Health people from different countries don't they check the matter as medical planes don't carry some people wey sick for this matter go hospital for Netherlands, Zurich and Johannesburg. Even though people for Canary Island been dey fear say make this kind thing no reach their place, Spain don't agree make the ship land for Tenerife. The World Health Organization people don't talk say make people no fear too much, say the virus no go spread reach everywhere. On top Nigeria election matter where they come, APC party don't talk say President Bola Ahmed Tinubu no need to pass through any screening again for their 2027 presidential primary election. For inside their big meeting for Abuja where they do yesterday, the party talk say since Tinubu be incumbent president, meaning say since 9 day power, and then been done screen am before for 2022, he no need to stand for front of any panel again. Say if he do so, that one a waste of time. APC talk man where they call Felix Moka say they use the party law. They give am this waiver because now waiting go favor the party be that. For El-Rufai matter, court don't agree making go hospital. The Federal High Court waiting for Kaduna don't agree make the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, go treat him body for hospital, even though they still dey hold am for jail because of corruption and money laundering matter. The judge talk say make they let am see doctor since in lawyer beg say the man no too well. The ICPC people self can confirm say the court don't agree make it truly go hospital to check himself. The new power minister don't promise to fix Nigeria lights. Olasukomi Tegbe don't promise Nigerians say national grid no go dey fall down again. When in they talk for Senate screening, it talk say the reason why light they off and on for Nigeria na because of bad wire, gas wahala, and some wicked people where they spoil the work. In compromise, say within 100 days, people go start to see change for how electricity they work for Nigeria. The man one really sure say na him be the man for the work. UK people don't talk say journalists work they very important. Pass waiting people they talk and waiting people they see. British High Commission don't tell Nigerian journalists say may they always talk true and may they follow the law as the work take be. The Deputy High Commissioner Johnny Baxter talk for Lagos say the UK go support independent journalism so that people no go they spread lie for country. People where they in charge of law and order for US don't call Trump making look into Nigeria plateau matter. One US lawmaker Raleigh Moore don't tell President Donald Trump say make him fire up on top the killing where they happen for Plateau State for inside Nigeria. Moore can talk say the way government they kill Christian for that side no good at all, and he blame Nigeria government say they no protect the people. Waiting in no be say no be only Christian they kill for that place. In Congo say if this kind of thing continue, it go spoil the relationship where they between Nigeria and America. For outside Nigeria, they say Iran embassy for Seoul don't talk say no be their soldier burst the fire for inside one South Korea ship where they call HMM ship for that water where they call Strait of Hormuz where oil they follow pass. They talk say the Torina lie.
This one happened after Donald Trump talk say maybe na Iran people use hand touch the ship because of the small quarrel where they happen for that region. Now the tori where we carry today be that. Make una shine on our eye. Make una no go miss better updates. Thank you so much, Sadika Isu, for that version of the news. With this, we've come to the end of S24 News Rundown. Do join us tomorrow, same time, as you follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television. And apologies, sincere apologies for the technical issues during the news rundown. My name is Zainab Ibrahim.